Are we on?
Hi, boys and girls.
We're on.
We on?
I guess.
I hope so.
I hope
Because
so.
it's 11:11.
It is 11:11.
It is
It's time to go. Oh my goodness.
Well, great. So excited. So excited to be here. It feels a little empty.
It does.
I
And we had
know.
so much fun last week with Reverend Mitch.
We did.
Amy said it was like we've known Mitch for years.
Yeah, I feel like we've done that before.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
just a really
It was
great
amazing.
experience. Yeah, so much
Yeah.
fun. And then the lunch afterwards. So excited that you guys all did lunch with us afterwards.
Yes.
That was so much
was
fun. We're
Great.
going to do it again.
Yes.
I think we got to replay. We're going to
Yes.
replay it.
Right. We've decided what
August 20.
August. We're not
gonna
going back in time.
travel. No,
No, back in time.
Good.
I know. Good.
Always wanted to be able to do that.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
to the heat.
No,
We
no,
go
no. We're going to go
forward.
forward into
Yes.
October.
October
The
22nd.
22nd. Yes. Okay.
That's our next luncheon at Enchilada. So
Yes. So mark your calendars. We like to give you plenty of warning.
plenty of
I
warning.
think that's
plenty
nice
of
of us.
time.
Yes. So we won't have a workshop the night before unless.
Unless somebody decides to come visit us again. You never know. And if so, we will let you know about that,
Yes.
for
But anyway.
sure.
And then our next course, we are starting a course next month, so that's something fun. And I believe Reverend Dr. Bobby might be assisting with that next
Wow.
course. So that's
Which you can't miss
something
that.
underway for October. So,
Exactly.
yeah, we're just gonna get through this last.
Last little
month, this
bit,
little
because
little
as we head towards the holidays and heading up on our 1 year anniversary. So excited. So
We're
excited.
almost 1 year old.
We are almost 1 year
Yes.
old.
Does that mean we're beyond the baby stage and into the toddler? That's
If
the
we-
toddler. We'll be a toddler.
So look forward to that picture where you see Michelle and I laying on a blanket that says 12 months.
Ah.
Not.
Should we?
Get their bodies out.
Okay, now that's taking it a little bit too far.
Right, you
Yeah.
never know.
You know,
You never know what we'll do.
we're excited to be here today, even if it's just the two of us. It's fine. All right. So what else? We are
That's
here.
right.
hi,
Get your
Katie.
rocks.
Get your intentions up there. Oh, she's got 3, 4.
She had a lot of intentions this
One of the
morning.
things that we do is we have beautiful rocks and crystals back there, and so our members or our spiritual church club partners that join us in person, they will take one and put an intention. But this morning, Amy has 4.
She has a lot of
Anne always
intentions,
grabs 2, so we've got
Yeah.
some good
We got some
intentions going
intentions
on.
up here.
Yes.
which we
I got the
appreciate.
flower pots.
So
And she
do
got
that
the
at
flower
home.
pot.
Yeah, so do that at home. Set your intention for this time that we have together, and it's always good to be intentional.
Yes, always good to
For
be
lack of
intentional.
another word, intentional with what you're doing in the present moment. So
Yes.
that's perfect.
So speaking of intentionals, are you ready to set the tone?
I want to say where we're at real quick.
Oh, okay. Go
Just got to
ahead.
give that plug.
Give the plug.
We're here at the home of Reverend Dr. Michelle Whittington's practice. We're here at the Unleash Your Life Studios. It's a wonderful place that we get the honor of using for our ministry, but Michelle has an amazing ministry here. She has like 3 classes going right now. If you want to check out what she's all about, you can look at unleashyourlife.us and see all the things that she has going on.
Absolutely.
Love that woman. So anyway,
I'm
now
ready.
I think I'm ready.
Now you ready? Okay.
Oh, the sound of the chime. We come to this present moment with a deep breath and the release. We ground ourselves in this present moment. With closed eyes, we sense the present moment around us and come into a place of recognizing that there's just one energy. There's one life, one source, one first cause, and that is God. That is Spirit. That is the divine presence. It is love. It is joy. It is peace. It is connection. It is the oneness. And I know that each one of us is that expression of God, that unique manifestation from the one. We each are that love. We are that peace, that joy, We are all that God is, expressing uniquely, perfectly, wholly as each one of us. And as I rest in that knowing, as I ground myself in the truth of who and whose I am, I speak my word into the law of God, because I know that it can only say yes. And I speak my word about this service, about this time together. I speak it for myself, for Reverend Jeannie, for everyone in this room, for anyone hearing the sound of my voice. I speak that this time together is truly, truly guided, divinely blessed. It is a perfect expression of God. And as each one of us allows ourselves to be here, to be just here for just this little bit of time, I know that we receive what is ours to receive. We connect with each other through the joy and the laughter and the sharing and the ideas that come from this time together. And I'm grateful for it. I am grateful for my part in it. I'm grateful for everyone else's part in it. And so I let it go, and I know and I trust that it is perfectly done. And together we say, and so it is.
Thank you. Ah, wonderful. So I want to give a shout out to Michelle. You know, tomorrow is her birthday.
Oh, it's my birthday. It's my birthday.
And so for those in the room, we have sweeties in the back there to celebrate.
Yay.
So,
Thank you. Thank you. Yes,
So
another trip around the
excited.
sun for me.
Exactly. It's a wonderful
So
trip.
grateful. Yes, I've had a wonderful trip. They're loving it.
We were just talking about where we were last year celebrating your birthday, and
That's
now this was still just
Just a
An
thought. We were
idea.
still working on
Yeah.
it. Yeah, we hadn't
Yeah.
even started it yet.
exactly. And so now here we are.
I know.
I know, so
I'm so
amazing.
excited. Yes.
Hi, Abby. Oh no, never.
Well, we know that this month we are still on the topic of forgiveness.
Yes.
And you all have your cards. So it's, I understand forgiving is a process. So we've talked about a couple different things about forgiveness the last 2 weeks. And now we're going to look at it as the process. And this reading, I think, is so perfect.
Yes.
I love it. So
It's going to be on page 68 of our New Thoughts for Today. This again is the affiliated New Thought Network's book for New Thoughts for Today. They're written by spiritual leaders across the United States. So this one's called Another Look at Forgiveness. You may not recognize forgiveness even when you have experienced it. For what we are seeking to know better is subtle. You will, however, feel it in your body. Something very nearly a thing has left you. Into what seemed black and white has crept a little gray. And that's Stephanie Dowrick, Forgiveness and Other Acts of Love. Over the years, I've heard so many times about the importance of forgiveness. Jesus talked about it, encouraging ongoing forgiveness, specifically 70 times 7, or an infinite number of times. But recently, my experience of forgiveness of myself and others has changed. Rather than using the magic wand process of now I feel it, now I don't, I'm acknowledging that there can be a time and effort involved, that forgiveness is a process, not an event. In the Science of Mind teaching, we are encouraged to look for the positive, to affirm that all is well, to say that it's all good. I was taught to try to deny my human emotion of grief, anger, guilt, and resentment. A true forgiveness requires me to claim the hurt, feel the guilt, feel the victimhood, recognize and feel the anger and grief, and then heal into wholeness. Debbie Ford once wrote, what we can't be with won't let us be. What you resist persists, exactly. I grew up with the old expression, forgive and forget. This gave me the belief that somehow I was wrong or bad if I couldn't forget. But so often the experience I am forgiving comes with a valuable lesson and important knowledge that I will use in my future. Forgetting is not only not possible, but also not wise. I forgive when I'm ready. Quoting my beloved friend Martha Creek, don't arrive until you get there. Today I live wholeheartedly, feeling what I feel, treating myself and others as the beloved. And one of my favorites by Reverend Dr. Jerry Turer, Religious Science, La Mesa, California.
Love it.
Oh,
Love
feel
it.
your feelings.
It is a process.
a process.
And what's interesting is sometimes you'll be feeling those feelings and you get rid of one and then another one pops up.
Absolutely.
Our feelings are in layers. So you might think,
Yes.
I'm not angry anymore, I'm good, and then all of a sudden another one comes out. And you're like,
Right.
gosh dang it, why is this still here?
Right. And and when it comes to forgiveness, the layers, like you were talking about, the layers of things, because first there's the experience, or what we interpret as the experience that happened to us. And I don't know about you guys, but it's always happening to me if I need to forgive you, right? It happened to me. So there's that experience, and then I have, and then I feel it in my body.
Yeah.
Like I have places on my body that hold that memory of how that felt to me. And then, the emotions that come up. And there's the part of forgiveness I love that he said, is like, I grew up in that world of forgive and forget too. And what happens is the forgetting part, now I have this open wound, or maybe it's slightly healed, and I've forgotten what has caused this wound, my part in it. And I walk right into it again, and I, hit my shin again on the same table, or stub my toe in the same area, because I've forgotten the valuable lesson. I love that he says that.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Because forgetting does not always give us the best course of action in our life. Right? Actually, I've never known forgetting as being a good course of action, right? Because what we tend to forget, we tend to repeat.
Maybe it's not necessarily forgetting, but maybe even telling yourself a different story around it.
Oh, absolutely.
Because how often do we have, we're angry at somebody and we're pointing our fingers out here and we're neglecting to notice the three that are pointing back at us, right? That really we can say this person did this and they did that, and I'm mad at that, and I got to work on forgiving them because they did all this stuff to me. But at the same time, there's really, it's your work is in here. And so the story I told you guys before with the person that I was so angry at, and I was working on it, and it took a long time because I never recognized that I was really angry with myself, because I hadn't honored myself and stood up for myself in that moment. And so when I finally released the story that it's all this person, and I looked at the story as it's being me, then I did forget that piece. That wasn't the learning. The lesson for me was, next time you're going to say what you need to say and stand up for yourself, so you don't have to harbor this feeling. So I think it's not necessarily forgetting. Sometimes it's just reframing
Exactly
what really happened.
One of the biggest things, and I'm going back even before my Science of Mind time, the work, Byron Katie.
Oh, Byron Katie.
Yeah, that when here comes something up, that I'm holding against somebody, what they did. And then the work says, okay, take a look at this. When have you acted this way? When have you responded in this way to a situation or whatever? And I remember the first time I did it, I was like, oh, there's that. I think what it brought for me was a sense of compassion for the other person, because I know that, and I can it's funny that until we started talking, I kind of forgot about it, but I can remember it was a scenario with a young lady who was in a horrible relationship, and she needed to leave. And I was working with her in a 12-step way, and I gave her the money to leave, and I never saw her again, and she didn't leave.
Oh, wow.
And I was so angry about it, that she allowed herself to stay, that, it wasn't about the money. I'm a big believer of if you want to get rid of somebody, lend them money, like, because, yeah.
If you want to see who they
yeah,
really are,
lend them money, yeah. But, it wasn't about the money. It was about the, I had spent months with her, as she was telling me, she was really being abused, really horribly abused. And I just wanted to save her, and I wanted her to save herself. I wanted her to be as invested in her life as I was. And that was a hard lesson for me to learn. Right, I cannot care more about your life than you do.
Yeah.
And when I do, that's when I learn I have to step back. And so there's were the valuable lessons in that. But what I realized, and I had never been in a situation like her where I was so abused or anything, but I had been in situations where I had spent many a months complaining and saying I didn't want to be there, whether it was a job or a relationship or school or whatever. And somebody gave me an out and I didn't take it, and so I was able to have some compassion with her on that. And, but it was hard, but I learned a really valuable lesson. And part of that lesson was that I can't be more interested in somebody else's life than they are. And that I need to pay attention to when someone is sharing their life experience with me, that when we were talking about this earlier, we all already have the answers inside, right? We know what we need to do, right? Sometimes it takes a little effort to get there, right? But we already know what we need to do. And I am no one's savior,
Right.
That's not my job. I am here to walk alongside.
Exactly. Yeah, we're not someone's savior. I agree with that. We're our own saviors. We're our own heroes. And it's funny that you brought up Byron Katie, because my friend Deborah Covington is why I know that work. So I haven't actually personally read the work, but she said to me one time that, which is where that tool even came from, is I was so angry at the kid's dad. And she said, well, Byron Katie would say that you can't really be mad at anybody else, that you're really mad at yourself. So that was like,
Whoa.
what are you talking about? So I had to check that. I had to go through different scenarios, like, okay, well, yeah, I could see that. And so when I was in this argument with Ed, and I remember thinking to myself, so if I'm not really mad at Ed, then what am I mad at? What am I mad at? And that was the first realization, that I was mad because I actually wasn't standing up for myself. So this is a pattern of mine. So when this other situation happened, it took me a little while to get there because I was so angry. But something in me said, wait a minute, because it was just not going away. That I finally was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. So if I'm not really mad at them, what am I mad at? And that's when all the walls came tumbling down, right? It's like, oh my gosh, it's nothing to do with him. It's that I didn't stand up and tell him that wasn't right. So yeah, Byron Katie has some serious thinkings around that, and they're they are, I've proven them correct just in my own work. And it really lends itself to forgiveness, because we're really not mad or hurt or any of that from somebody else. It's all internal.
Right.
Just like,
because there's only one of us.
That's it.
So so if we truly believe what we're here talking about every Sunday, that there's only one of us, that there is this unity. So I have no separation between me and you. So if I am angry at you, then it's my reflection of me that I see in you that I need to look at, right? And but I don't want to, right? So here's where forgiveness is a process, right? But I don't want to. I need to have an external thing to look at, right? Right.
To cause it to put the blame.
Right. To have and this is part of the process. The first part is the blame. Where is this at? That I'm seeing it and experiencing it. And I think blame is a very important part of the process, because now it allows me to have a physical interpretation of this harm, right? Okay, but it doesn't get to be the whole process, right? So now the next part of this process is, what really happened? what's my real experience here, without giving it my dramatic interpretation, right? And everybody in this room knows me, so I can be a drama queen. And when I'm hurt, I really am. And you know what? If I'm hurt and sick, oh Lordy, look out. I mean, I lose my ever loving mind, right? My partner's in the room, so I can say this. So, about 4 weeks ago, I got COVID, and Dakota did what you're supposed to do. She quarantined me.
Oh.
She stuck me in my room. I was
She's
mad. I threw a full-on fit. I was crying. I was yelling. I was not a pillar of spirituality. That is for sure.
She didn't go quietly into that dark night.
I did not. I
did
was
not.
mad. And Dakota was just so kind, so compassionate, so loving. She's like, I am not doing this to you. This is a perfect example, right? But in my mind, yes, you were, right? Like, yes, you were, because you weren't allowing me to be who I wanted to be, which was the person sitting on that chair watching that TV show at that moment. You were making me go into the bedroom, and then waiting on me hand and foot for the next 10 days. I know. How funny, right? I was throwing a fit to be taken care of. Yeah.
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 Aww.
So I'm just saying that, it's very easy for me to look at a scenario and change actual facts. The actual facts where I was ill and I needed to be quarantined so she wouldn't get ill, right? And I needed to take care of myself. And she was taking care of me the best way that could be. Those were the actual facts. My interpretation was she didn't want to be around me and I was being abandoned. And I was being left alone, to suffer in no way silently by any stretch of the imagination. So like within an hour, my interpretation changed. I stopped my crying and was able to realize that this was the appropriate action, and I was appreciative of being taken care of, and so I was able to see things from a different perspective at that point, and operate in forgiveness, and I know that sounds so, I don't know, little or whatever, but it's the truth. That's how it all happens. Whether it's a tiny hurt or a big hurt, it all happens that same way. We feel we're being attacked. We see it differently than it is. And then something happens for us to experience it in a way that says, this wasn't about me. It wasn't about me being harmed. And now we're looking at it through a different perspective. We're reframing it. And in reframing it, that's where the process of forgiveness can come in.
And I think it's hard at the front end because, for your example, so clear, you weren't feeling well. So you're weaker then, right? You're not feeling good. All these, everything's heightened and, all that stuff. Same thing when somebody harms you mentally, physically, emotionally, right? That front end feeling, I don't know, I've had that happen where I'm just shocked, like especially somebody that I would never expect that from, and that happens, you're just shocked. On the front end, that comes, and then all these defenses come in, everything runs in. You're not in the place to have that other awareness yet. That front end comes at you, and then that's the automatic response. That's yourself being triggered, and it's just that automatic ego protect me response. And until that settles down, and it may take longer than an hour for a lot of situations. Yours took an hour, but you were also alone. You were able to sit there, and then that all started to decompress. And now the part of you that has all this training, that's worked through this stuff, that understands Byron Katie, all those little seeds have been planted to start to come up and be like, hey, let's rethink this, because that front and all those other feelings, that doesn't feel great. and I don't want that to keep going. So what else is there? So when there is that situation that happens where there's some forgiveness that needs to happen in the beginning, I just think that's not always something we can do.
Right.
We're just not in that space, which is why it's a process, because the front end's going to have the trigger and have the automatic programmed response. And then once that settles down, or you keep having it over and over, every time you think about the person, it all flares up and you're just recognizing, I don't like this it doesn't feel good. At some point you start to then question the responder.
Right.
Why am I doing, what's happening
Right.
here? What's actually happening here? And if you've had any trainings or friends that say little nuggets of truth to you that you can like then go, well, if I'm not really mad at that person, what can I be mad at? Or if I'm not this, you start to unravels its hold to where you can actually reframe it and put it in a situation where you can do something about it.
Right. And one of the things I want to make very clear is that there are time periods where people are absolutely out to harm you, right? And this,
On purpose.
right, on purpose, and it is seriously a scenario of malfeasance, that there is harm intended, and that's the goal. So everything from what you make up in your mind to the people that are holding you hostage in whatever situation, the process can be longer, like we said, right? And all the training in the world when somebody's out to harm you can go out the window, right? And that could take a while with serious betrayal and scenarios where you're physically harmed or abused. So I want to make it really clear and not making light of any of those situations at all. Yeah, no victim shaming, exactly. And that's why forgiveness is a process. So everywhere from my little feelings were hurt because I was feeling sick to to being physically abused in a relationship, everything in there are areas that say, okay, what can I do in this work, in this progress, in this forgiveness for me? Forgiveness is not about that other person. You are not letting them off the hook, right? A good portion of the time, they don't even know they're on the hook, right? I don't even know if Dakota knew how mad. Well, I think she did.
Did you know Dakota?
She was pretty aware. Yeah,
I was like, oh no, I knew.
I knew.
I knew the
Yeah,
answer.
but there are time periods they don't even know you're angry. They don't even know that they harmed you or whatever like that. And if you do your work right, they never have to know, right? So it's the whole fact that they don't feel, because there are people that still walk through your mind and they get harmed in there, that you are somehow less spiritual, less anything. You're not, right?
Yeah.
Because wholeness is about feeling all those feelings and experiencing them and then finding the ways to have them release.
Right, totally. Yeah, finding a way to get to the work that you've done, to the knowledge that you've done, and to let that go. It's like Anne says, no victim shaming. Like, no, never. We should let people have their process too. Like I should allow myself to have my process. We should allow each other to have the process and not judge it. I think I have a hard time when someone's going through their process because I want them to stop suffering
Right.
due to themselves, right? And I want them to move that along because I know they're causing that for themselves, and they don't need to, but that's their process.
Right.
There's an awareness there for them that they have got to go through, and only they can do it. I can't do that for somebody, So that's why the work is so important. The awareness of yourself is so important. The paying attention to your internal thinkings, and anybody that goes through your mind that's getting, I don't want to say the things that happen up there, but if
bad neighborhood some days.
It's very bad. But if that's happening, I can say there's nobody that goes through my mind right now that I have that with, and that's great. So if you can
That's
do that,
because you're getting old.
she's gonna get it so bad.
I now walked through her mind and got harmed.
Okay, now there's one. Okay, now there's one. Hang on, I got one now. She had to fix that. No, but it's like being aware of that and paying attention. Don't, not just letting that happen and then just blowing it off. Like, no, what is it about that that's bothering me? Because like we were saying, I think last week, all that stuff's operating within you, whether or not you are doing something about it, paying attention to it, letting yourself be aware of it, it's still operating. So when you're trying to manifest something and you're doing the work for something and you're saying to yourself, why isn't this happening? Why isn't my life? Like so-and-so does it and it comes overnight and I'm over here and it's been months. Well, have you checked your operating system lately? Have you checked the programming? What program are you running? And the forgiveness work can be a big clue as to what program you're running.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like use it. All these things are tools. They're all compasses. Like what direction am I headed? Am I heading into the direction of the life I love? Am I actually on target, on course? Or am I this many degrees off? And all of that, your emotions tell you, your forgiveness work tells you, all of that stuff tells you, how are we in the right direction?
I love that you're talking about that, how many degrees off, because I think it was something we were talking about or reading about where like when they're flying a plane, they're constantly course correcting. Constantly course correcting.
Yeah, they're not cruising.
Right.
Reading a
And
book.
because you have to, otherwise you're like, landing someplace else.
Well, not where I wanted to go.
Right.
That would make me upset.
And so when I think about that and how amazing this technology is to fly a plane, right? Just amazing, right? Now let's look at the technology of human beings and who we are and how we operate in this world. The course correction that happens through us and what we can do, whether it's our operating procedures, what we've learned, or communicating with our besties, or, just taking a spa day or a nap, whatever we needed to change that perspective of where we were, like going back to my example of feeling ill, what I needed was, some downtime, right? I had been run down and I was feeling it. So like laying down in my bed and watching a good little show on Netflix or whatever, it was a lot easier to get into a space where I was no longer upset, and I think part of the forgiveness process then comes to, can I reframe this and no longer be upset, even if I know you meant to hurt me?
Of course.
Yeah. You need a mic for sure. I just want to say that I was physically abused by my father when I was young. And it took me forever to forgive him. It is such a process. Before Science of Mind came into play. Then I did a lot of forgiveness work. That I would go over their house and there would be another trigger and another memory and another layer.
Right.
And I'd have to forgive. I can't tell you how many times I have called Reverend Michelle after I left my parents' house. But when my dad got Alzheimer's, and he was a fairly intelligent man, and watching his brain go little by little by little until there was nothing left, I had compassion. And I would say it took me 60 years
Oh, wow.
to get there.
Yeah.
That's how long the process was until he could go through my mind completely unharmed. And I would sing Karen Tucker's song when I went to see him. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you so much, Reverend Cindy. And I know that having your father just pass, that you are somebody who really did work through all of that and be able to let him go with love.
Right.
Yeah. And what an amazing process, and like you said, 60 years, right? So we're not rushing anybody here,
Oh, yeah.
right? We're not rushing you, right?
And different violations take different amounts of time,
Right.
you know? And sometimes you'd be surprised, and I'm not even saying that, well, this is the worst, this one's really bad, so it's gonna take longer.
Right.
Sometimes
Sometimes it's the smaller ones.
it's so, which is why that situation that I had, I was shocked that I was still angry. Because it was such a small thing. I think it was like worth $50. It was like not even like, and I couldn't get around. What is the problem? What is the problem? Why can't I stop that? And every time I would see the person, the whole thing would flare up. And then, so it took so long for me to get to, I think the problem is getting to where it's, oh, it's me. Oh, hold on a minute. It's not him, it's me. Inside. So it takes, that process is a long time.
Thanks. We lost our mic runner.
it's
We
good.
appreciated it.
I did Byron Katie's for 2, and I have to tell you, when I first saw it, I was like, how dare she?
She doesn't know. She
Doesn't
doesn't know what
happened
she's
to
talking
me?
about. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but I did do the work through
You did it.
her too, yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
That's great
it was
work.
great once you realize, you know, what you truly need to look at.
Right.
Yeah.
That is
You pass it back, Debbie.
It's interesting because I just came into New Thought within the last 5 to 7 years, and there are only 3 people in my life that I truly absolutely despised and hated because I felt like they persecuted me, and 2 of them were teachers from 60 years ago, and one of them was a former business partner from 40 years ago, and the way I dealt with it before New Thought was just to separate my, obviously I graduated from school and went on to my life, and the other one I just left the partnership. But then I was thinking the other day about them, just because one of them passed away, and I started thinking, and I realized that time and separation is what did it for me, but it would have been faster if I had worked on it. Because whenever I thought of them, my skin just rankled me.
Yeah.
It just was horrible.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a faster track, even though it may not be fast, because it still could be 60 years, because mine was nothing near physical abuse. It was just mistreatment and that sort of thing. But it's nice to know there's a faster track than just walking away and saying you're out of my life.
Right.
true.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all good stuff. Those are all awarenesses around this that it just proves it's a process.
Right.
So to not be upset with yourself, it's not just something you can do that quickly, you know, especially if the emotions are in layers. Anger is always the first. It's always going to sit on top, but it's so surprising how many other layers are underneath that often happens. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of a time where it hasn't happened where
Right.
to get the anger gone, now I got something else.
I got grief.
Yeah.
I've got fear.
Yeah.
I've got
Oh, for
sadness.
God's sake.
You know,
I know.
there's, if there's an emotion that I can name around it, and there's always the how dare you. I don't know what that emotion is, but I have it a lot. Indignance, yes, the indignance. How dare you? Yeah, there's so many of those things, and then they come and go, right? And I just posted something on Facebook the other day about spiritual bypassing and the difference between spiritually bypassing and wholeness healing is about how we tend to, and I love, because Reverend Jerry talked about that too, how a lot of times in New Thought we're like, love and light, everything's great, oh my goodness, right? And like that is nowhere in our books, like that's not New Thought. I don't know how it got turned to that, right? Because that is not what we talk about and teach, right? And so I'm not saying concentrate on the negative, of course not, nor am I saying concentrate on the positive. Be in the now moment, whatever's there, and feel those feelings. They're all sacred. They're all worthy. They're all useful. They're all there to help us grow and develop and be whole human beings. What do I say? I'm here to give God a good time,
Yes.
right? And that means all of it.
Right.
That means all of it, including being sick.
Oh,
Apparently, I don't know.
no.
Yeah, me and Reverend Cindy, we've just been giving God a good old time.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lord. Oh, it's
Yeah.
awful. That makes me think of the tapping
right?
That would be a great workshop.
Oh,
The tapping
yes.
around the forgiveness work, like
Yes.
releasing things that are upsetting you. And that's done in layers. So you tap that first emotion, which is usually anger. You tap that, and then you self-check. Once you're done with that process, then you go self-check for the next one, because if there's another, and you find
Right,
that
are
one,
we
and
still
then
at
you
a
do it again.
10? Are we,
Yeah.
are we an 8, a
Yeah,
6? Have we gotten
we
rid
should
of
pull
it?
that out, and that should be
Yeah.
a little like Saturday night workshop.
Right? That
Yeah.
would be a great
That would be
workshop.
good. Have you guys ever done tapping? I know you have, Cindy, because you were there. You were there at the same. Huh? Yeah, I know, it's very interesting. I had never done it before, and then we had that practitioner's retreat.
Yeah.
Lindsay Wagner. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay.
Yes,
this
the
is
bionic
odd.
woman.
Yes, the
Yes.
bionic woman is the spiritual teacher of ours
Yes,
now.
yes.
And she taught,
Yes.
seriously, the
Yes,
actress, yeah,
she was
she's,
the one who ran our retreat.
yeah,
Yes.
this is her belief system, and she came and taught us several things. But the one thing that was so interesting is the tapping, because I seen it, but I never understood what was happening. And she taught couple different systems of it that you could definitely use for forgiveness work.
Like what Reverend Mitch was saying last week about, we are not separated. We are not mind, body, spirit, right? We are one.
Yeah.
Like so if it goes through your mind, it's happening in your body, it's happening in your spirit. If it's going through your body, it's happening in your mind, it's happening in your spirit. It's all one system.
Right.
So with the tapping, we're moving it through the physicality of our body and our spirit.
It's very cool. It's really a cool thing, and you can do it by yourself. So it's like you teach it and then give them the worksheets, and you just do it by yourselves. And it's such a cool practice.
So maybe we will do that October 21st.
I think so.
Alrighty.
I thank you.
This is how that happens.
That's how that works.
Right
That's
there.
how we do it here at
Yeah,
Sofa
on the
Sundays.
sofa.
We just get these
Where are
little
we
hits.
at?
I think it's
So,
almost time.
We
And you
are.
got to do your
I am going to make an offer for forgiveness work here. We're going to do a little meditation time period if you're all up for it. So
You want the chime?
yeah, let's do a little chime.
Let's do it.
All right. So I'm going to invite you to take in a couple of deep breaths here and get us set up. So I would like you to think of a scenario that needs forgiveness. Something that you feel you are willing to let go of. And in this event or experience, I want you to feel into your body when you remember this experience. How does it feel in your head? Can you feel it in your sinuses or behind your eyes? Is this something that you feel in the tightness of your jaw? Maybe it's in the back of your throat. This resentment, this event, I want you to feel it in your shoulders now and in your upper back. And does this make you feel big and angry, or little and small and shrunken? This event, this experience, this resentment, does it create constriction in your chest, in your stomach, in your breath? You take deep breaths, or are they shallow when you think of this experience? How about your arms? If you can, just feel what that feels like. Are your arms crossed? Are they hiding? Are they relaxing? Are they fidgeting? How about in your seat? Does it make you want to run away? Does it make you want to stay still? Does it make you tighten your muscles all through your body? How does it feel to embody this experience again? This hurt, this pain. And as we go down our legs and into the ground, can you feel that tightness? I just want you to sit with that. I'm not going to leave you here. And I just want you to feel what that experience is doing in your body right now. Okay. Now, let's take a big breath in. And let it go longer than you breathed it in. I want you to breathe in for 4, 2, 3, 4. Hold 2, 3, 4. And let's breathe it out for 8. 6, 7, 8. Now, I want you to feel this warm shower, this waterfall, as it goes over your head. And now as this water comes over your head, I want it to rinse out in your hair, in your face, and let go. Let go of everything that was holding there. Just feel the warmth, the breeze, the release in your jaw, in your throat, in your heart. Feel this warm, beautiful, crystal clear water as it runs down your arms. And feel your body just release any tension, any feelings of stuckness. It's all being released and moved. As I open your chest, open your heart, feel that love in this beautiful waterfall. Wherever that waterfall is for you, if it's Belize or Hawaii or the White Tank Mountains, wherever it is, feel that refreshing, clean love that is the divine as it goes through your body, through your bloodstream, and down your legs, releasing and relaxing, and feel the support of the chair underneath you as this releases all from you. There is only love. There's only light filling you, moving through you, down your legs. And now I want you to find all your gorgeous toes. Feel your feet on the floor. This grounding into the divine. Feel your spirit in the earth chakra. Feel your grounding, knowing that we are all one. And that in this divine moment, there is nothing that can harm you. You are perfectly safe, whole, and complete. That there is the perfection of gratitude in this experience. For in this moment, you know the divine shines bright as you. And that everything that has happened prior to this now moment got you here in this divine love, this bright, beautiful light, that you are glowing, you are perfect. There is nothing that can touch that perfection. There is a part of you that has never, ever been harmed. That is who you are, right here, right now. And with gratitude, we just say thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, life. Thank you, universe. We're going to come back into our body, knowing that we are divine. And let it go. We call this so very good. And together we say, and so it is.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ooh, that's some good work right there.
There you go.
I know, and that's cool. It's recorded now. You can replay it whenever
There you
need
go. You
it.
can replay it. Yeah, I'll go home and listen.
Yeah, like what happened? Did I do?
Oh, I love that. I love feeling the experience of
Mhm.
releasing.
Yeah,
You know,
let it
just let it go,
go.
right? I mean, you can always pick it up later if you want,
You could.
right? Up to
You
you.
could.
Up to you.
And you can leave it there.
And you can leave it there.
You can leave it. Bye-bye.
Exactly. Whichever you choose.
Exactly. It's your choice. The whole process is your choice.
Exactly.
So good. Well, I love that. So I love that. I love when we do things like that. Just change it up a little bit. I
Yeah,
love that.
just change it up some.
Mhm.
Ah.
All right. Well, do we have questions?
So what- yeah.
Anybody got
What do we
questions
got?
or
What do
comments
we
or
got?
anything coming up, or did you already share enough? We had some good sharing.
I'm so blissed out.
Right?
From that meditation.
Oh, you're blissed
Thank
out for the
you.
meditation.
Yeah. I know. I feel a little, maybe my
I know. I feel a
cold,
little
my
air,
coldness
woo.
is kicking in. No.
Nice.
Okay. Well, that's awesome. So mark your calendar for October 22nd. And I think we will mess around with looking at the tapping for
Yeah.
October 21st. We'll let you guys know
Yes.
next week. We're just going to
Yeah, absolutely.
visit that. That would be fun. I would love that. I would love to get that kind of refresher on that.
Yes. And so I wanted to just like real quick send out some celebration news. So
Oh, I like
just
celebration.
just a few things, right? Celebrating Michelle's trip around the sun. Yay!
Yeah.
Woo! We're celebrating Amy's new job. She starts tonight.
Nice.
Yay!
Oh, I'm so excited. That's
And
great.
awesome there. We're going to celebrate Reverend Cindy is going to be ordained in the beginning of October with us
So
out there in
excited.
Canton.
So excited. I'm glad you're going to
so
be there.
excited
That's great.
for that.
Nice. Yeah.
So
Don't you have something in Anton?
I do. I will get my bachelor's degree also
Yeah,
that week there.
That's awesome.
I want to celebrate Anne finally retiring. I'm just saying.
What
It's
the
an
what?
amazing thing, right?
She's laughing.
She is. Well, she's embracing it. Yeah. So
That's good.
it's an
Good stuff.
amazing thing there. Yeah. So
All kinds of
any
great
other
things.
celebrations we got? Well, and we celebrate Dakota's 21 years.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
I
That's
saw that. That's
yeah.
awesome, Dakota.
Yeah.
What an accomplishment. That's
So
great.
yeah, it's
I
an
know.
amazing thing.
Creating
to-
life. Creating
we
your life.
are.
Yes. Make it
So-
what you want. I love
There
it.
you go. And Trey's still, liking school.
Yeah, Trey loves school.
I know.
It's like his favorite thing.
I'm pretty impressed with him.
He's not even going to defend himself right now.
No, he's not. He
It's
likes
like-
it. Yeah.
No.
And now it's online. Not that Trey's friends are listening, but we
They
don't
could
know.
though.
They
might
could
pick
be.
it up.
So how can we support you?
That's a good question. How do you
I'm not gonna
support
ask that.
Sofa Sundays?
Well, you can become a spiritual church club partner.
Oh
I mean, it's a really
There's
cool.
that.
It's
It's
a
a very
cool
cool
deal.
yeah.
Yeah.
You get an amazing cup. You get an
Yes,
amazing.
and you get your Sofa
oh,
Sundays
you're wearing your
charm.
Sofa
Yep,
Sundays
if you're like
charm.
me, wearing your Sofa Sundays charm.
There you go.
Yeah, that's so cool.
Right.
And
You get to be part of our
amazing.
amazing group, and our classes are free to you if you're a spiritual church club partner. And you get discounts on things that if they're not taught by Michelle and I, you get discounts on, and
Right.
you get to help us be part of a very growing world of New Thought Ministries, and which we so appreciate, and
Right.
there you go.
And to be a part of a community, help to build a community. We're starting from scratch. So the more
Yes.
support that we can get, the better. We have this space. I'm so grateful for this space, and we would like to outgrow it. So our goal is to get that first 100 partners. So we're ways away from that right now, but I know it doesn't take much if everybody starts
Right.
helping. So we would love that. And we love our
Facebook,
Facebook
Instagram,
members.
and YouTube
Yeah.
members. We love you guys. We
Yes.
appreciate you sharing, liking, commenting,
right, inviting.
inviting
Yeah,
your friends.
right.
Thank you. We keep growing. We're 10 away from 500.
Oh my
Woo-hoo!
gosh, make that happen.
I'm so excited.
But we'd love to see you in person too. So, maybe
Yes.
try checking us out in person and being a part of this community. And if you're somebody that is being fed by this, if you appreciate what we're offering every week and it's helping you create a life you love, consider becoming a spiritual church club partner and putting some of your finances there to help
Right.
us grow.
You can go to beginwithinministries.com, and if you would like to offer any type of financial contribution, you can do it there, whether you become a partner or not.
Right. And then there's also the monthly, if you want to become the partner. There's also the monthly. You can do a monthly donation of $45 for an individual or $75 for a
Or
family.
you can
a
just
couple.
give us $1 million now, whichever you prefer.
Yeah, I would be okay with that too.
Yeah,
Then we would
that's
just jump straight ahead. We would
Right, there you go.
completely pass go and collect the $200.
Right, exactly.
No, but we understand everybody's got in their own different places in their own life. So whatever works best for you, we appreciate any level of support while we are
Absolutely.
growing this ministry. And what else is there? Is that it?
That's it.
I
But
love
if
it.
you are looking to come visit us, please check us out on the days we go out to lunch, because then you get even more of us.
Yeah, and you can ask us questions and see if this is a community for you.
Yes.
Anyway, we would love that. We would love it. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for being here in person. If you're watching this on the feed, please comment, share, tell other people to check it out if it was meaningful for you
Yes.
today. I appreciate
Thank you. All right.
Right.
We'll see you
That's
guys
it.
next week.
it. Goodbye.
Bye.
And Trey.
See that bye thing? Yeah, we're done then.
Oh, he's the best sound guy. Not the best turn off guy sometimes,
Right.
but the best
I know,
sound guy.
but the best sound guy. Thanks, Trey.
We love